UN expert says world has given Israel license to torture Palestinians. This is your moment, Jen.
Well, so as I was saying, so that particular torture case of that child is an example. And recently, one of our heroes, our Shiro, Francesca Albanese, has released a report. Now, the report is quite lengthy. I did look at it. And this article was a really good recap of the key points of the article, of her report. Her report is lengthy. And there's a lot of like legal jargon in there. But this is, yeah. So she is the UN expert. And also, by the way, we're going to do a first right now because we haven't done this for a woman. And I think it is time that this is done for a woman because
energy.
Oh, seriously, Francesca, this woman's whole life has been turned upside down with sanctions and ridiculous bullshit and nonsense. And then she still continues to do her job. Like, yeah. So for people, just so you realize, that got offended about the big dick energy thing, it isn't sexual. It's personality. You're sexual. Okay. A UN expert says the world has given Israel a license to torture Palestinians with life in the occupied Palestinian territory, a continuum of physical and mental suffering. Francesca Albanese, UN Special Rapporteur on the rights situation in Palestinian territory occupied since 1967, said on Monday that torture has effectively become state policy in Israel. Continue, scroll. Israel has effectively been given a license to torture Palestinians because most of your governments, your ministers have allowed it, she said, as she presented her latest report to the UN Human Rights Council. What once operated in the shadows is now practiced openly, a regime of organized humiliation, pain, and degradation sanctioned at the highest political levels, Albanese said in the report. The report is titled Torture and Genocide, by the way. Torture is not confined to cells and interrogation rooms, that report outlined. Through the cumulative impact of mass displacement, siege, denial of aid and food, unrestrained military and settler violence, and pervasive surveillance and terror, the occupied Palestinian territory has become a space of collective punishment where the destruction of the conditions of life turns genocidal violence into a tool of collective torture with long-term mental and physical consequences for the occupied population. Okay, scroll. Albanese, an outspoken critic, what?
No, I was going to pick up for you if you wanted it.
Oh, no, I'm fine. Albanese is an outspoken critic of Israeli action in the occupied West Bank and its genocidal war in Gaza, has faced backlash from Israel and the United States with mounting calls for her removal from the position of special rapporteur. Yeah, I bet they want her removed. Since October 7th, and this is really where the torture report like picks up the details that it goes into for this segment as the past couple of years. Since October 7, 2023, Israeli attacks on Gaza have killed, I'm not going to read that number because it's silly. In the occupied West Bank since October 23, Israeli authorities arrested more than 18,500 Palestinians, including at least 1,500 children as of February. Israel's mission to the UN slammed Albanese's report and called her an agent of chaos. Yes, that's what she is. She's an agent. Albanese abuses, this is spoken from the IO rep. So Albanese abuses her UN platform to engage in virulent anti-Semitism, including peddling narratives that can constitute Holocaust distortion and trivialization. She routinely makes statements supporting terrorist organizations and advocates dangerous extremist narratives to undermine the very existence of the state of Israel. Albanese called on UN member states to prevent and punish acts of torture and genocide and uphold international law. Its increasing use as part of Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people makes this violation all the more grave and indefensible, she said. If the international community continues to tolerate such acts when inflicted on Palestinians, then the law itself will be stripped of meaning.
Now,
so, and by the way, if you guys are interested, I do recommend looking up her report. It's not hard to find. It's the UN report, but it really does go into a lot of details over the past 2 years of the specific instances of what is constituting torture. And it's interesting to see it all consolidated in one place. I'll say that.
Now, the person in question here is Danny Danon. He is get the term technical here. Danny Danon is Israel's ambassador to the UN. And so after going through his diatribe against Francesca Albanese, this is how he used his time at the UN. Things are not going so well for Israel right now.
Madam President, let me share with you the reality we are facing on the ground in Israel today. When Hezbollah launches one of their rockets, and it happens almost every day, this is what Israelis hear.
This is what I think.
When you hear this siren, you have 15 seconds to seek shelter. Think about that for one moment.
Nobody cares, though. See, that's the thing. Nobody cares. They want that for you and your people. They don't give a shit. And the reason you only have 15 seconds is because Iran's already taken out all of our defense systems and all of our bases surrounding you. Maybe you should have thought of that.
What type of a warning system did they offer the people of Gaza before they started to carpet bomb their entire area?
Oh, I don't know. No, but they're also apparently now, my understanding is that in Ziohel, they are no longer letting anybody but Jews in the bunkers.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so that's about right. And yeah, I mean, everything that they say at this point, I don't even care if it's 100% true. Like, I don't care if it's true.
Oh,
I don't care.
Listen, you know, the way that the universe was going to come back to Israel was because they were eventually going to bite off more than they can chew. And now that they have bitten off more than they can chew, they are becoming, in the eyes of the world, a pariah state. They're on their own.
Nobody cares about his like, I'm surprised at how the people in that room can even keep a straight face when anybody from Israel or the United States is talking. I don't even understand why they bother to listen or show up when we're like, why?
Well, there's no reason to, but I also think that at this point, they're just kind of allowing them to embarrass themselves. There is no point in conducting conversation with them. What's the point? Let them cry, let them complain, let them kvetch, if you will, because that's all they can do. They're not going to be able to.
I want people to concede all their points and then also say what I'm saying. Like, I would love for everybody who hears that stuff to say to him, yes, we know, we just don't give a shit about you.
Yeah. Well, somebody's going to say it. And then they're going to cry anti-Semitism or who knows what else.
15 seconds. Imagine you are at home. You have 3 children. Which one do you take with you first? Do you go back for the others? Do you carry your elderly parents? What if you are outside now? 15 seconds. That's it.
That's a shame.
That's too bad. I don't know who I can. It's like I can't put my finger on who this guy reminds me of, but the lisp is just too much. Imagine you this outside. If I didn't do any better.
There's no need to make fun of him for that. He's just an evil piece of shit. So
yeah, but why not make fun of him?
I don't know.
Sitting there with his greaseball hair and his fancy suit. First, he dresses like he's Italian. He talks like he's French, and he's probably from Germany, as some people have suggested. But you know what he isn't? He's not from the Middle East. He's not from that region. And like everybody else, it's all made up. All of it. Their entire ideology, it's all fake.